expand our minds, and make us all think. I'm sorry, I'm 2 minutes late. I said I'd be on here at 8. I was just getting our, information out for everything to get out there. But, we're here, we're enjoying life, got across the country, and now it's time to get serious and deal with some medical stuff. Got myself another tick bite on the trip, and I already have final stage Lyme disease, so now it's enhanced some complications. So good to be back to get to deal with that stuff. Anyways, we're going to talk about something really important, something that, is cross-cultural. We see it all over the globe. It's something that we deal with on many family levels, many levels of all kinds of things, and it's called addiction. Addiction is not about weakness, and it is not about pleasure. It is about a shadow, a forgotten part of ourselves crying out to be seen. I want to help bring us just to this place of kind of grounding, to get us to kind of pay attention. I want to invite you to imagine the darkness of a quiet room. I know, of all the things I want you to imagine, why that? But just do it for a moment. And in that silence, something calls. A drink, a puff, a scroll, a distraction, pornography, whatever these things are. And it brings relief, briefly. But then shame or guilt whispers in. And we say, never again, but find ourselves back. Why? Not because we're broken, but because we never listened. Addiction is the voice of the soul craving wholeness. It's a part of you that wants to be heard. It's a part of you that wants to be known. And not because we're broken, just because we were never heard. See, psychology, Carl Jung described the shadow as the unconscious part of our psyche. The wounds, the traumas, the desires we suppress. And addiction is often a coping mechanism to avoid unresolved emotional pain. It's not about the substance at all, or the behavior. It's about disconnecting from self. It's a part of ourselves that we're ignoring. Gabor Mate said that trauma and addiction, experts says that the question is not why the addiction, but why the pain. Every craving has a story, a need, an unmet, an inner child unheard. Until we become safe enough for our shadow to speak, it will keep whispering through cravings. What fires together wires together. Addictions are neuron pathways forged through repetition, through habit, and that feels uncontrollable because the brain is seeking predictability and dopamine. The brain doesn't distinguish good from bad. It follows what gives relief, what's going to bring comfort to this moment. But it's only for that moment. The neuroplasticity shows we can rewire our brain, our mind through new thought, and behavior reshapes the brains and structures. But cravings become doorways to new choices. If we pause and observe for a moment, we might be able to see something different. Hey, Roxy Boo, how's it going? Welcome. So when you observe a craving, you pay attention, you're reacting, your prefrontal cortex, logic, self-awareness activates, and the amygdala, fight, flight, calms. This is true mastery, not suppression, but presence. In the Gnostics and spiritual insight, the war of the two selves they talk about, the Gnostics traditions, we are caught in a war between false self and the ego, the program, and the divine spark within, the true self. Addiction is not sin. It's amnesia, a forgetting of who you truly are. In the Gospel of Thomas, it says, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. Hello, Chante Blackwell, how's it going? Welcome. So you don't defeat the cravings. You integrate it. See, the addiction is not your enemy. It is the shadow teaching, the teacher. It's the shadow going, yo, I'll throw this at you. Maybe you'll pay attention. But instead, you grabbed something and didn't. You ignored it. This is water, so I'm going to grab this and drink it. And I'm not going to ignore the fact that I feel dehydrated. But, even in nature shows us the storm and the root. In nature, every storm actually has its purpose. It reveals what is not rooted, what needs to be ripped up. Trees grow deeper, not by avoiding the wind, but by facing it, going, let's go. So do we. Trust me, man. The confidence in these things that are coming in my life is because I'm grounding into the dirt and facing my own stuff. Like even when I got stuck and my rig broke down, all these things happened. I could have pointed at all these different things and but you want to know what I had to do? I had to look in the mirror and see what lessons were there for me to learn. And so do we have to do that. Every urge is an invitation. What part of me feels uprooted right now? That's what this is. It's all this invitation. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus, taught us that the pain and discomfort are not to be feared, but examined. They are messengers. When we say, I want to stop scrolling or stop drinking or stop smoking or whatever your addiction is, I want this to stop. We usually saying, I want to stop feeling so alone or unseen, so tired. It holding it all together, This lady doing right now is teaching. So freedom isn't found in control, it is found in understanding. We talk about the mirror teaching. That's what we do here, because the reason I teach about this is because it's real, man, and it really makes shifts. I'm seeing it all around in insatiable, intense ways. I'm having people call me and just tell me things that I would be like, whoa, I never imagined. Like, I've had people that were telling me I was going to go to hell that stopped for a moment and stopped being religious and actually took what I was teaching and put it into practice and came back and said, I feel closer to Jesus. What? Wow. They found the external truth. They didn't go to the external, they went to the internal. They found the internal truth is what I meant to say. What am I avoiding? Who inside me needs to be loved? What story am I telling myself right now? What feelings do I believe I can survive? You see, we got to ask these cravings, these questions. What is it wanting? Why does it want to drink? Why does it want to smoke? Speak this out with me. This is how we reclaim power. When you can name your shadows, you take the first step into taming. It's called self-mastery. It's not war against addiction. It is a sacred art of listening to yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. Addiction loses its power when we stop running and start remembering who you truly are. It is not about force. It is not about love. It is about the ultimate love. It's not about the missing love because you already have it. It's about inviting the parts of ourselves we locked up in the basement of our soul and saying, I see you. You're not too much for me. You're not unlovable. You're part of me, and I'm coming home. See, we're taught to segregate parts of ourselves and push them down. Even religion does that to us. But see, with the true teachings and the true spirit of creation itself was always gaze into the mirror and see who you've been this whole time. We don't do politics on here. As you noticed, I didn't even say what you said here. You see, that's all part of this matrix. It's a locked up system. So I don't do politics up here. I don't put people in high regard. I used to do that in my life. No. Look in the mirror and image and realize you are what you have been seeking. You are what this country needs. You are what this planet needs, not somebody else. You. I want you to pause for a moment and breathe. Just breathe in. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself these questions. What do I really need right now? And what am I afraid to feel? And what would it feel like to hold space for that part of me instead of running from it? Just let it be heard. See, you're not your cravings and you're not the one who observes it. You're not lost. You are returning. You don't need control to control the tide. You need to learn how to swim with the current of truth. You know, because that's what really matters. Gaze into the mirror, people. That is our freedom. You know, it's not the story. It's not the people that were in our stories. It's right here. Everything you've been looking for is right here. Right in you. So make sure you do one thing towards your dreams every single day. It brings you one step closer. And make sure you recognize you're valuable and you matter. And you're all unique puzzle pieces, a part of the ultimate puzzle of the cosmos. Hang in there. Peace and love. We'll see you guys. Take care.